Hey everybody, it's Roger with Kinsta. Today I'm joined by my good friend Keegan. Hey Keegan, how's it going?
And it's awesome. I couldn't be better. How are you?
Oh, dude, I'm likewise, especially since I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Uh, little little side story for everybody. This is our second take at this. I messed up recording the first one, so second time's always going to be better, right? So Keegan, I see your name coming up in my Twitter feed, showing up on LinkedIn, and you kind of straddle this restaurant world and this web design world. And I'd love for you to just kind of introduce yourself and tell everybody kind of how WordPress plays a role in your life.
Sure. Man, so I guess the short of it, my name's Keegan Lanier. I've been sort of like this tech slash restaurant guy living the alternate ego life for a very long time. Had a small agency and really a solopreneur practice for almost 8 years now, but have been in restaurants since I was 16, from flipping food to bartending, doing all the things that a lot of people do during college. And it's sort of taken me to a point where, I started with the brand that I'm with now when we were really small, got to build it up a little bit. So super creative, a lot of things being built. And, we got to a point where everything was sort of managing the system. And I need that creative itch to be scratched. It's gone. Like, what am I doing with myself now? And, I returned sort of back to WordPress, which I had been in web development, but custom coding, HTML and CSS years and years ago. And I didn't know what the world looked like. Jumped in, found WordPress, found a bunch of builders, and it was like, this is absolutely incredible. It's not as, tedious and manual as it used to be. I can do some pretty complex things, relatively easy. And it was just like the light bulb went off and I was like, I feel home and I'm happy to be back in WordPress. But, every day I live in it. Well, I say every day, every night, really, because I work all day for the full day job.
Hey, boss.
And like, yeah, yeah. And I go through that. I go through that every night and spend time inside of WordPress. And it's become a huge part of my life, not just the software, but the people in the community involved around it.
Excellent. Quick question, Gutenberg or page builder?
For me, page builders,
Okay.
page
Which one?
builders. So I started, man, currently it's bricks, I guess, to answer the question, but I've been through so many of them. I used X back in the day with Cornerstone when they introduced that. I've
Oh,
used
oh.
did use Jupyter for a while. I've used WP Bakery Visual Composer back in the day. I've tried Oxygen. I used Divi on a lot of client projects for a very long time. But whenever I fired up bricks for the first time, it was another one of those aha light bulb moments. Like, this just makes sense to my brain.
Beautiful. No, I love it. A little scary side story because it's Halloween. I'm actually working on migrating a client off of Cornerstone right now. And yeah, I'm like, what is it, 2012 or something? Wild times. It's crazy to see how things change. Okay, next quick trick question. Bar menus that are QR codes, fan or not fan?
And I like a physical menu. I don't like in the restaurant, I don't want to be stuck in my phone. Like, we live that way all the time. That's when it's the eternal battle of me in the restaurant industry. Like, this technology is amazing and it does so
Mm,
many beautiful things, but it also can take away that human element of just the being in the moment. And there's something about it that's just, it kind of pulls me out of it. So I'll take a physical one all day.
absolutely. I'm with you. And I think you hit on it perfectly is when I'm at the restaurant, I don't want to be on my phone. I want to
I
talk
know.
to the person in front of me. All
Absolutely.
right, all right. So some fun hot takes there to get us started. So you mentioned the WordPress community, and obviously that's a big thing for me, something I try and talk about a lot and be involved in as much as possible. What's kind of your experience? You've done WordCamps, you've done some meetups. Where's your involvement?
I think because of the day job, I haven't had a ton of time to travel and be involved as nearly as much as I would like to. I've done it
Mm,
digitally though. I've been in, I've done plenty of courses. I've been in a ton of Facebook groups over the years. I'm in the Kevin Geary's inner circle, over on Circle actually.
mhm.
And then, Web Designer Pro, Josh Hall's community, been a part of that and been, around him for a number of years. The community is really what keeps me around, right? There's so many other options. You got Webflow, you got Wix Studio, you got all these things that are popping up that everybody loves. But the people that are so dedicated to WordPress, I think it's just something special about it. I really don't know how to describe it. It's just, they're helpful, but they also kind of don't put up with any BS, and let's be real. But
Yeah.
let's also be helpful, and I love that.
No, that's great. And, to your point, like not making, virtual events or, meeting online, like, I mean, that's where most of this stuff is happening, right? We're building
Yeah.
websites. We're going to be meeting online. But I think to your point, the the ecosystem around WordPress is amazing, not just in terms of, hey, plugins and themes, but also just questions like, hey, what's the best way to do this? And either somebody's made a tutorial or they'll answer the question in a, Facebook group or circle or wherever you're at. And I love that, is that the ecosystem that comes together. And also to your point, somehow we've avoided it just becoming spammed out,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yeah. Thankfully we have.
Absolutely. Um, what's kind of exciting you in terms of, when you're working on client websites, what kind of clients are you usually working with?
Man, it's all over the place, to be honest with you. I work with a company out of Chicago that does team member incentives. Like that's their whole world. They partner with businesses. They create incentive programs for their team. I mean, I've built full-on restaurant recipe viewers. I've worked with Hulk Hogan and rebuilding his site, and then the Hulk Hogan's Hangout down in Clearwater. I mean, I've worked with the tons, like a veterinary. I don't even remember the name of the license that they're going to get, but it's basically like a online course that helps people prep for an exam for veterinary techs. Work with nursing homes. I've worked at the gamut. I've worked with nonprofits in music. I was a music guy growing up, played the drums and was in marching band, and so like band. And he's got a nonprofit for music education, sort of tied with kids learning music, but also veteran outreach. And so I worked his website, helped him build his stuff up. So it's far from a niche, that's for sure.
No, absolutely. I think that's great. If you could try time travel back to Keegan early on in this hustle website building career with the knowledge you have now, what's like the biggest thing you just, hey buddy, let me help you out?
Whew. That's $1 million question. I think that, the biggest thing is like, just have fun with it. Like, don't get ahead of yourself. Work with people you really want to work with. Don't chase after, the dollars. And it's easy to say, I'm sure there's people who will see this and think, oh yeah, easy for you to say, buddy, you're not out there hustling because you got your day job. But the truth of the matter is like that grind, whenever you work with people just for the money and you go after those projects just for the pay, sometimes you do have to do that, but it chips away a little bit at your passion for doing it because it becomes that grind. So for me, I mean, I definitely did that early on and worked with some that I maybe shouldn't have or would have been better not. And it changes the way, it just changes your engagement in the process. So that's one of the biggest ones. The other one is like, man, if you got the money to spend on education and building the systems, invest in that, invest in automation where there is automation, and keep the human touch human when you can.
Excellent advice. As far as getting into your education, are there any sites or any tutorials that you've loved recently that you're like, go sign up for this one?
Man, Kevin Geary, his YouTube channel is just absolute gold. His Page Building 101 series is awesome. The Inner Circle is a really, really good community of people who are super, super helpful. There's some people in the Divi space who are really good educators, not just so much in the Divi tool, but really good being in business. David Blackman, who has WP Zones, one guy that comes to mind. Tim Streifler with Divi Life, another one. Just really, really, really good people who are great. And then, man, YouTube, they have a YouTube channel. It's Designed by Crack is the first one that comes up that comes to mind. Guy's a wizard when it comes to building this stuff. And his tutorials are super, super thoughtful and really well done.
All right. I've got some linking to put together and get out to everybody. That's some really great stuff. I love it, Keegan. We're coming to the end of our time. I appreciate you coming on and talking with me. If people want to reach out to you, what's the best way to get in touch?
Yeah. So, I mean, the number one way is really on X. It's Redefined. I never even look at my profile. Redefined Create on X, on Twitter. That's the easiest way to have conversations, or on my website, redefinedcreative.com is the agency site. If anybody needs some assistance, like the one thing about me, man, is like, I want to get back to the community. If I can't get into word camps or, do any of the products or any of that stuff, my time is something I can give. And I'm always trying to help people who maybe aren't as far along on the journey. I got a lot of people ahead of me, but anybody who's just getting started, I love having conversations with people and trying to, help them down the road.
Man, I love it. I feel the love. Feel the love. Keegan, thank you so much for your time again. I appreciate you, man.
Of course.
And I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Same. It was great, man. Thanks for having me.